Flight simulators have reached so far based on technology, realism, and a bunch of other stuff that most people are overwhelmed when they hear about them after not hearing about them. It seems pretty cool to have a realistic looking simulator in your room, and I agree with you, it is very, very cool and it is worth it if you want to pursue your aviation dream. But that is up to a certain point because there will be a time when you just start questioning that is flying in real life, which is totally different, actually that cool, or is it too risky both financially and also literally? And what is next for sim pilots that actually want to be real pilots? Let's cover this in today's video. A decision like that is not to be taken with a grain of salt. There are many reasons behind this, but the most important reason is that it is a financial risk. You're pouring thousands of dollars into the flight training programs, as well as the exams, the flights, etc. Fuel is not something that is cheap, and that type of stuff does really need to be considered. And how does it need to be considered? It is simple. What are you going to do with real life aviation? It is not, I mean, if it is a hobby, if you're just gonna use aviation as a hobby, well, at least to me personally, I wouldn't actually take the risk that much, because if it is just a hobby, first of all, you'll not be you're not gonna be getting paid from that industry, and all that money will be poured into that other. And in contrast, if you have a job or if you have a business that it has nothing to do with aviation, and so you'll basically be having this huge liability of money that it'll just be going to waste because of just being a hobby. There are exceptions, such as if your business or if your job is very, very well paid, and that you can honestly spend some of that money in what you love, especially if you love aviation. And that is what I'm going to go next. This is the most important one, if you actually love aviation or not. And if you love aviation, or at least you want to experiment it, and you should really consider having a license, at least a private pilot license in real life. Because I'm just like you. I am a sim pilot, I am not a real pilot, and I really, really wish to become a real life pilot. And it is solely because I would really love to pursue aviation. It is part of my, not only just my bucket list. Bucket lists are more of a side thing, but I just wanted to become my passion of it. And I don't know about you, but I think this is a good strategy in order to pursue just anything. It could be anything like being a doctor or being a lawyer, etc. It could be any job, and in this case, it is for aviation. Now, to be honest, that is the first thing I need to consider if I love aviation or not, or if I'm actually really interested in aviation or not. Because you might think, oh, I'm just gonna start my training, and then if I actually like it or not, if I actually like it, I'll just keep going. If I don't, I'll just stop. Well, you have to consider that flight training costs are thousands and thousands of dollars being poured into the training, because then and only then you need to consider of actually starting to have a job in aviation, whether if it's being an airline pilot or even a military pilot. It would be cool. All of those jobs are cool, and there could be many things you can do while having a license. Not a private pilot license, because you need to have a commercial pilot license or a military license. But it depends on your country, there maybe. But You just need to know that aviation, I mean, mostly any other job, and you have to, the first question you need to ask is if you like it or not. And then you can ask of how much can you get paid, or how is your revenue, etc. There are so many other stuff that are worth talking about in aviation, like what aircraft specifically, etc. But just that essential question would actually determine if you are going to be consistent in pursuing your aviation path, or are you gonna burn out because you're not gonna like it, or you're just insecure about it. Now, and I mean, you might have a totally different story. Everyone has a different story, but at least in my story is just so you can maybe relate, or if you actually let me know in the comment section what was your story of how are you pursuing aviation in general, how are you getting your license or simulators, etc. And yeah, just let us know in the comments because I would really like to hear it. And in the case of my story, I heard of flight simulator, at least 5 months before I actually bought it, and I just fell in love with the fact that you can go everywhere in the world without restriction, at least in the simulator, and it is quite literally our entire replica of the world, and just like that in the simulator, an actual real world replicated entirely in a computer, which is absolutely incredible. And I bought it for Christmas, and I cannot tell you how, but after I started using it, especially trying to use it realistically, because I like the procedures, the landings, the takeoffs, the landings were, I mean, I was struggling to do them, but I mean, I think most people are, especially in the simulator. In the simulator, most people struggle with their landings. But in my case, yes, I of course struggled them. But the fact is that you learn how to do those procedures, and that is what I really like because 3 months passed, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, and I realized, bro, how have I burned out? I'm still flying, and I'm even flying longer flights than I have ever made. Like my longest flight was 9 hours and 30 minutes. I think it was from my home city to Madrid, from Monterrey to Madrid. It was a long flight, but and I'm still looking forward to extend that record because I just like it. I just love flying in a simulator, and not flying in the simulator, correct me. I am I just love flying in general, even though I haven't actually done that. And this has left me considering if I want to have a private pilot license, or should just start training, starting with a discovery flight or anything. And the only thing that is a little bit off is that I'm just 15 years old, and in my country, I need to be 18 in order to have a private pilot license, which I just have to wait. But at least in the US, I think it's 16. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that around my age, you can actually have a license, or at least start training anywhere in the world, because but I'm still fighting for it, and one day I really do believe that I will pursue that. And yes, I will let you know about that because this is actually my niche. My aviation is my niche in YouTube, so I really like to share it with you. And this actually also goes for you because life, at least to today's era, is full of distractions that are actually removing us from removing our ambitions and our goals, because we just think, oh, I'm just gonna watch some TikTok, I'm just gonna play some video games, etc. And I don't have anything against those apps, those consoles, etc. But what I am against is actually using them excessively, because that is actually ruining our passions and our goals. That is why so many people today are left without a thing or two to do, or to think about the future. They're not really that interested. Not even in school. Not even in a side hustle. Not even a hobby. They just they just play video games. They just try to distract themselves, which is actually deteriorating their minds. And I really wish they could change. And it's not like in the movies where the passion actually just comes to you. And it is mostly you trying to find the passion. And once you find the passion, you just need to keep going in order to succeed on it. You will fail. Become inevitable to fail, but you just need to keep your mindset that even though you fail, you just need to keep going. It won't stop you. And the actual failure is not the failure you actually think about. The failure is actually quitting from from your passion. Quitting anything that you're trying to pursue is actually the failure. It is the only failure, and there is no other failure other than that. And that'll be the message for you if you have a passion for aviation. If you actually just would love to think about having a private pilot license, then just go do it. And you just don't hesitate at all. I mean, you might hesitate because, financial risks, etc. But, if you actually really want it, just do everything that is possible, because I truly believe that having a license in aviation, for everyone, it is possible. Whether it is, it'll take time for some people, but for others it'll take less time. But I just believe that it is possible for everyone. And so just stop watching YouTube. I mean, no, don't stop watching now. I really like you to subscribe right now, because aviation is a top priority in this channel, and we feature a bunch of topics about that I think you would be really interested in it, as well as learning something new about them. And if you like this video, it just takes a couple of seconds to do that. You just click the like button and to subscribe, in order to keep you updated on to learn something new or something that is going on, etc. And I would really appreciate you do that. So, fall, happy flying.